Your Jets
squeaked one out.
At the Tennessee Titans, squeaked it out 24-17 here in this one. When we look at the Jets' top 5 graded players on the day, center Joe Tippmann's at the top of that list with an 83.6. Linebacker Jamian Sherwood with an 82.7. Offensive tackle Tyron Smith with an 80.8. Michael Carter, their cornerback, 77.3. And then rounding things out for the top 5 at number 5 is wide receiver Garrett Wilson with a 74.4. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers had a 67.2. For the Tennessee Titans, their running back Tony Pollard, 80.6. That was the top-graded player for them. Linebacker Ernest Jones, 79.8. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley, who scored a monster touchdown there, which we will get to in a second, 73.3 on this game. Offensive tackle J.C. Latham, the rookie, had a 69.5. And then Dylan Radins, their offensive guard, a 67.7. Will Levis, not as bad as last week, 65.9. Although I will say, my stat that told the story here is Will Levis, they're just living and dying by the sword. Like that's all it is. Like that is what the Titans offense is. Now, like we said last week, you have to eliminate just the catastrophically bad. And to be fair to Levis, he cut his backhanded throws in half this week. He had 2 in week 1. He only had 1 this week, which garnered a very colorful response from his head coach.
Rightfully.
Obviously, those have to stop existing in the playbook. But 10.8 average depth of target for Will Levis, 3rd highest in the NFL behind just Trevor Lawrence and Anthony Richardson for this week. 3.03 time to throw. It's the 8th highest time to throw of any of these quarterbacks. So it kind of just, this is sort of his identity. He's a big arm thrower. He's a big game hunter. If you're going to start Will Levis, this is just the quarterback that he is. We saw him just launching it all day, trying to complete these deep passes. Some he was able to actually hit on this week. Last week he wasn't as successful with it, but this is kind of just going to be the Titans' offense. Like until next offseason comes around and we're really able to see what Brian Callahan wants to do here for this team. If they're going to win, they're going to have to win it off of Levis's arm anyway, so he's just going to be chucking it and hugging it all year long.
Yeah, I mean, in that part I don't have as much an issue with. The way they're running the ball well through 2 weeks. And if you want to take play-action shots and find things like that, fine. But you can't have the shovels and the backhands. And these things, I mean, it's like you just mentioned, these things are inexcusable. And they're the types of things that if they continue to happen, we will be talking about Tennessee drafting a new quarterback next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Because those are the things that lose you football games. So he cost them points yesterday, cost them the game against the Bears.
Yeah, right.
There's an argument that they are not that far from instead of being 0-2 to 2-0, but it's really because of the turnovers.
So what is your stat that told the story for this game?
So I know Aaron Rodgers is all the big talk and he looks good and this and that and the other, but just as big a story is their offensive line, the Jets' offensive line, and their pass protection specifically. They allowed 1 pressure, just a sack all day. Just 1 pressure, their offensive line. I believe the other 2 pressures were charged to Breece Hall. So far this year, they're 8th in their offensive line is 8th in the NFL in pass pro grade, and that comes with a heavy kind of a heavy downgrade from Morgan Moses last week. He had to block Nick Bosa. Tough assignment. I mean, that's other than Morgan Moses not really being able to block Nick Bosa, this O-line has been just spectacular, and their run blocking got better this week. It was a 59.8 last week, 75.2 this week. If this Jets offensive line plays all year like they played yesterday, they're incredibly dangerous. I'm going to roll it right into my most impressive guy, the highest graded guy for the Jets, Joe Tippmann. There was a lot of talk about the new guys that the Jets brought in, Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Morgan Moses. Joe Tippmann, second-year center out of Wisconsin. And last year, he started the year playing guard. They didn't even have him playing center, and then he got moved to center. This is an incredibly athletic player, both in the pass and run game, screen game. Super impressed with his tape, Trevor. 83.5 run blocking grade, a career high. 9 positive grades in the run game.
That's great.
Yesterday, 9. I'm telling you, he's got a level of athleticism that not very many offensive linemen have, and it is showing right now. And him developing in year 2 is just as big a story as all the new guys on this Jets O-line. They continue to play the way they're playing. They're going to find it on offense.
And it's just, it's the size too, right? Like that's why you draft Joe Tippmann, because he's a bigger center player. But if he gives you that athleticism too, it's just a major bonus. My most impressive, you kind of downplayed it a little bit there. You're like, oh, everyone wants to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers because I don't know how many other QBs in the NFL win that game yesterday other than Aaron Rodgers.
He found a way. That's
because
what he does.
That Titans defense was playing well, and to be fair, outside of the offensive line playing better, there's just not a lot of weapons that are just getting open for the New York Jets. And they were trying to run the ball. They want to be a run the ball first type of a team. And so they were continuing to try that, but it wasn't really super effective, especially early on in the game. I don't know many quarterbacks in this league who would have been comfortable enough not getting impatient with how the Jets were playing, especially in the first half of that game. And Rodgers was. When we went to the half, Rodgers' numbers were very pedestrian. But the most important part to me, 0 turnovers for him. Because Rodgers could have been sitting there, and even with him missing all of last year with that Achilles injury, given his age and how much success he has had in the league before, I could have seen him just going like, all right, screw this. I don't care. Like, I'm going for it. I'm taking a shot. He never did that. And when he did, he only did so when his receivers had a chance to actually make the play. Even if it was tight coverage, it was beautiful throws by Rodgers to the sideline. He had a throw, I don't remember if it was Garrett Wilson. No. It was the throw to Mike Williams that we were watching yesterday, where we both just are like best back shoulder thrower in the NFL.
Yep.
Like, he's just one of the best back shoulder passers we've ever seen.
I think he's the number one. In that very specific category, I'd put him number one.
And
We've seen it so many times.
He's the most impressive to me, not because like I have some stat to pull that says like he's great, but the stat that I would pull is the 0 turnovers, interceptions. He didn't throw them. And I think for a large majority of that game, you could have very well gotten impatient with how things were going. And I don't know how many quarterbacks in the NFL would have stayed the course the way that Rodgers did enough for them to know, hey, at the end of the game, we keep playing like this, it's all right. We'll have our chances. We'll win. They'll give us the ball. They'll make the turnovers. We're going to win the football game. And that's exactly what happened. And I think that if there is, I don't want to say any other quarterback, because there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in this league, but Rodgers on this Jets team and his demeanor right now is so important for why they are going to win, because it just doesn't feel like he is going to be impatient with them. At least we did not see that.
No,
against
the Jets. The Jets traditionally don't win games like that. That's true. It's just that thing. It's like, okay, we're in this tight game. We think we're we think we're the more talented team, but we're not playing up. The Jets normally, but you're right. That's why they don't. That's why they I don't think he has a turnover-worthy play. I think his interception in the Niner game wasn't even considered one with the pass defense and everything like that. So just to have a guy on this Jet team that isn't going to put the football in danger and that doesn't make you nervous is a massive difference.
You did Joe Tippmann. We got the same most disappointing. Sauce.
Oh, do we really? I didn't see that we had the same one. Yeah.
I mean, it has to be Sauce. This is the worst game of his NFL career.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd expect to bounce back. He's still, to me,
right.
He's
still
the best corner in football, but
right.
Calvin Ridley got him for sure. A 30 coverage grade and 97 yards allowed, both career worst. I mean, Sauce, I fully believe he'll bounce back 3 days from now. But, it was a tough one for Sauce for sure. Calvin Ridley played really, really well in this game.
Yeah, no, he did. And Sauce is a phenomenal talent, so he's absolutely going to bounce back. But there's no doubt about it. This was
pretty good chance that's a one-time thing.
This was the game where he gave up the most. You mentioned the coverage grade there. Gave up 5 receptions, 97 yards, touchdown allowed. Like, it's just it was tough for him. It was a tough performance. But every corner, it's the nature of the position. This is always going to happen. He wasn't going to have a wire-to-wire Hall of Fame career where he had no games.
Maybe that's the new motto when it's something like that. Even Sauce Gardner has a bad day.
And now,
maybe the rarest of them all.
You know, that's encouraging to all the watchers and listeners out there. You know what? If Sauce Gardner can have a bad day and still be an all-pro corner, you know what? So can you.